right, everybody. Well, welcome back to another episode of the Blazer Victory Podcast. John Duncan here. And of course, I'm joined as always with my co hosts, Darian Smith and Jimmy Marion. And guys, we're coming to you a little bit later, but that's okay. This is a bye week for UAB football. But guys, I've never been this excited to record a post game podcast for a loss. I believe that since I've been doing this thing, or since we've been doing this thing 4 or 5 years, UAB's upset bid does fall short, losing at Arkansas 37-27, but a lot of positives to take from this game, especially coming from the week before, from that ULM game transitioning to the Arkansas game. But we'll get to that in a minute. But this game recap episode of the Blazer Victory Podcast is brought to you by Cahaba Brewing Company. And guys, shout out to everybody that made it to Cahaba Brewing Company for the Arkansas game watch party. We just thank you all so much for, supporting us and supporting Cahaba, for supporting the Blazer Victory Podcast. We had a great time, really fun, especially that first quarter. And really first half, but all game, we really didn't know what to expect for this UAB game at Arkansas. But shout out every single one of you that went to the Blazer Victory Podcast watch party at Cahaba Brewing Company. I saw a lot of people getting the Blazer Victory Pale Ale and enjoying it. So that is definitely great to see. And this game recap episode, we are going to spotlight the Oktoberfest for Cahaba Brewing Company. Really good Oktoberfest, seasonal beer that they make. But shout out this Saturday, September 21st. It's their Oktoberfest celebration. So make sure that, hey, UAB's not playing this Saturday. So everybody, if you can, get down to Cahaba Brewing Company's tap room to celebrate Oktoberfest. And I believe, hey, the Blazer Victory Podcast flags are still up in the tap room. So if you go there, make sure you kind of hold your beer and take a picture with the flag and kind of spotlight us, but definitely support Cahaba Brewing Company because they've been so good to us. And we just thank you again for this partnership. But Darian, Jimmy, that was a good time at that watch party this past Saturday, right?
Yeah. How many people y'all guesstimate? How many people you said that it was?
I say about 60-ish because, we had a lot of folks inside, but we had some outside too. So I probably estimate about 60-ish people.
Yeah, no, it was a good crowd, and shout out to Thomas's dad, Lee. Not sure if he listens, but it was good meeting you, Lee. Same with Dave Franklin, Tony met as well. Got to meet some of our loyal listeners and supporters, so always appreciate those of you who said hello. And heck, again, coming off what was a difficult week too, to still have that type of role, or to have that type of outcome and that type of presence there in Cahaba was really cool. So definitely appreciate y'all coming out, and we're going to have more events and more watch parties, and definitely looking forward to them.
Yeah, a couple of guys, couple of the loyal. I like that we have like a loyal crew,
we do,
right? But then they bring more. We, like you said, like y'all already stated, we have a good time. Like we drink. What I want our listeners to know, like let me repeat that it is a kid friendly. Like I know it's people think about Cahaba Brewing and it's somewhere you drink at, but yeah, you can have your drinks responsibly, just like you would at the house. But there's enough room. Kids were playing, babies, dogs. You can bring your dog. Honestly, like a lot of people having a dog out there. I was going to say something about the dog. I'm gonna let that go. You can bring your pets. You can bring all your kids, no matter what ages. They had a blast. Shout out to Liz, man. She really helped me. I had my girls by myself, and John's wife Elizabeth really made a connection with her and held the baby down for me and let me get a drink or two. They got food out there with the current. Get you a good burger. So I just encourage more people to come fellowship with us. It was nice seeing everybody, and then knowing what I was talking to a lot of the guys, like some of the people have been talking to each other in the Patreon, and they were like, is that Tony that I talked to and they was meeting each other, and that was the coolest part, because it's all about fellowship. It's all about making memories, and what are these memories without sharing them with people that care just as much. Shout out to Blay, and I was like, okay, is that him? Okay, what's going on? All of that was cool. So y'all, next time, let's really, really check it out. Next watch party. I know John's finna come in. I kind of ooped that
you
up.
lobbed it
Which
up,
one is the
bro.
next
You
watch
lobbed
party?
it up.
It's I can't think of it, John.
October the 19th against South Florida. So that is going to be our next watch party. So make plans. Hey, I don't care if the freaking university announces the day before October 18th that they're going to have an official watch party. Guys, you know, we work so hard to plan these things, and it is kind of frustrating to see the athletic department the day before our watch party Saturday announce wherever they had theirs, and then they broke the UAB basketball team. And I mean, it is what it is. It is frustrating for us because we literally plan these things out months in advance. If somebody from the UAB athletic administration is listening to us, talk to us. I mean, we shouldn't have to have fans choose between going to watch parties. Like Cahaba, like, I mean, obviously they support UAB because they support us, but they were at that first home game giving out free samples at UAB. You know, we all want to work together. So I just don't want to see that day before announcement. You know, I'm not throwing no shade because I know the people in athletic departments, you know, but it is real, and it's discouraging to us, you know, that have been planning this How long have we been talking about this Arkansas game watch party? A long
It's
time.
been a while. Yeah.
And then now
what we're trying to do is fill a void in.
Yes.
Like, we're trying to help create an atmosphere for our fans. Mm-hmm. And it's tough when y'all, you know, when the administration just come in at the last minute, like, hey guys, first of all, you're not really giving people time. Like, I don't think there's respect to the people. So I honestly don't think they're aware of what we're doing. I would like to think they're not aware of what we're doing.
I hope so.
Honestly, and I'm gonna say this as respectfully as I can, I just don't think that they're on top of doing their job, because you would give people time to plan out and get there, right? Like, you have to plan around. That's why we still had 60 people and we still had a good time. We would love, hey, at least try to let us know, hey, we're looking at these dates. We don't want to step on toes. Let us know, and we can bag down on it. Okay, we don't have to do nothing that day because y'all filled in that void. Let's work together. We can help. We can work together. We have a core following fan base. We can get people to push whatever the administration want to push. We can help. But sometimes what I do not like about our administration is kind of like they want to do things just how they do it, and if you go against it and such, they kind of try to shun you out the way because we're not officially affiliates. Hey man, like, come on, let's stop this. We're trying to do it all. We're filling in the void. When y'all didn't fill in the void, we did. So let's just that's why we have a core following now, because there was a vacuum and we filled. Yes. So all of that to say is, let's just work together, you know, and that's the truth. They'll be all right.
100%. Hey, again, shout out to Cobber Brewing Company. We look forward to October the 19th having a watch party for UAB at South Florida, and that's going South Florida looking good, man. that's gonna be another tough game, but we look forward to it. And before we recap this Arkansas game, shout out to YouTube. If you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel at Blazer Pod, make sure that you subscribe, the button below. Yes, we got that right there. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. But thank you again. All right. Well, this Arkansas game, UAB loses 37-27. Man, just, you know, we did their game preview, and we had a lot of Arkansas fans tune in, and mostly 99.9% positive about our, you know, really like our analysis of the game and how real we are. Like, we weren't talking like, oh, UAB was going to definitely come in there and beat an SEC team. No, we were realistic, you know, especially about how the week before was at ULM, and analyzing how Arkansas was the week before and their disappointing loss to Oklahoma State. But guys, I'm just so freaking proud of this team, you know, going up 17-3 in that hostile environment and just kind of taking it to Arkansas early on. And I mean, you really, if a couple plays go the other way, I mean, we might be talking like UAB gets the upset win over Arkansas. But Darian, where do we start? Or Jimmy, I'll throw it to Jimmy. Where do you want to start on analyzing and recapping this tough loss that UAB just fell a little bit short to Arkansas.
Yeah, I just want to start with, first and foremost, I'll be the first to admit that my overall confidence and passion was certainly at an all-time low following the Week 2 Louisiana Monroe game. I only actually look back to 2017, but without a doubt, this game against Arkansas was the best that UAB has looked against a P4 opponent in a very long time, at least since the return. And most of UAB fans, including us, were talking about we just wanted UAB to have a good showing, like to be competitive. We're so accustomed to UAB falling behind relatively early in these types of bye game matchups and then not really having a say in the outcome late, not making the other team sweat. And there was some talk from the Arkansas side. Y'all remember the player who played at Pinson, TJ Metcalf or whatever, was talking about shutting us out. And, I remember even earlier in the week, Big Jim was talking about he just found some YouTube Arkansas pod like earlier in the week that was talking about, getting their third stringers in and this and that. And that's usually how those teams are going to look. I mean, it's probably pretty similar to how a UAB looked at Alcorn State in week 1, right? But UAB did in this game what Alcorn State was unable to do against UAB, which was to make Arkansas fans sweat. So I share the sentiment of just being proud of UAB for that respectable game. And one last note on that was, did y'all see the tweet by Colby Dempsey, where he had responded to Paul Inson's tweet? So
yeah, I quote tweeted that.
Yeah. I just think that was cool because Dempsey's been at UAB for his whole career. He went to the portal. He was convinced to return. He's finishing his career out here, and this is his last and final season. And he's asking the fans, let's get people to Protective Stadium for the rest of the year. Don't let that week 2 game impact the support that this team is going to need to still achieve the goals that are right there in front of them for the rest of the season. So John sharing a screen, which I think is cool. So those of you that are on X, go look at this tweet and share some love with it and like it, retweet it, and let's make sure that type of message is what is resonating with the rest of the UAB fan base. To answer your question, John, where I want to start is the offensive line. And I think that'll be a good transition to kind of get Darian's thoughts as well, of course. And, for me, one of the biggest positives in this game was the offensive line, the protection of Jacob Zeno, which gave him the time to progress through his reads. They talked about the final touchdown throw he had to Dallas Payne. What about the third and medium throw that he had to Amari Thomas across the middle, where Amari Thomas made a good play and got to the end zone there, I think, to stretch it to 17-3. But Jacob Zeno's unable to do that if he doesn't have time. Right. And so Arkansas was only credited in this game with 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, and 3 QB hurries. And if you look at that in comparison to the week prior, ULM recorded 5 sacks, had 9 tackles for loss, and had 5 QB hurries against this same offensive line. But one thing we did notice, Darian, was a switch up at the guard rotation. And so I think that Darian can definitely hit on that. But I did want to start with this very good and sound performance by the UAB offensive line.
Yeah, the key word you used is sound, but I'm gonna retract back just a little bit. But that tweet from Kobe was like a good tone setter for the pod, right? Because to go from such a mental low, like the spirits of the whole program, of all of the fans around the locker room, it seems as if the locker room held tight. And that's what I appreciate the most. I remember saying that. I was like, it's going to be on them. We can't, as fans, we can't do anything to help that mental state, because as fans, we see what we see and we're applying it to the rest of the season. We don't know exactly what went wrong, what the communication, was it on being on the road and just being shook? Was it Ernest Hill knowing our game plan? I don't know. But something obviously just went awry, really in a bad way. And it was really compounded with mistake after mistake. When I went back and watched some of that game, it's like you can barely go a play without seeing somebody mess up. Just totally unsound football. It was bad. And it's just kind of make you feel gut wrenching when you see that we weren't physically beaten. That drives me nuts. That drives me absolutely nuts. But you come back to this game, and just to see Kobe tweet that, it lets me know that like they're aware. As fans, I think we were saying the right things, right? Like I think we were saying we weren't just like, well, let me bag up during the game. Some people were. I made sure to stay away from that. Like I know some people just take it way too far, but I know it's a long season. But a loss like that, it's so easy to focus in on that loss because we circled and double circled and triple circled, and it was highlighted. So when we put that importance of is ULM Brian Vincent on the road, it was his first year, second year for Trent. Like it was just gut wrenching. Just think about it, and I can only think about what it could have done for a player. But some of the right things were said, and the way that they came out, it just made me really, really proud. I didn't have any more belief. I didn't have hope, and now all of it has been restored. It's like the way they played said they deleted and flushed their game, and they really moved on. And the way they played said we're gonna get better from this, right? So we start with the offensive line, and we see that John Darius Morgan at left tackle, and we had at right guard this time Yates. Yates was at left guard. We had what's his name? The freshman, redshirt freshman.
Townsend.
We had Delano Townsend at left guard, and we had Yates at right guard, and they switched it up, of course, with Wilson at center and DJ Jones at right tackle. Really, really proud of those guys, man. We went toe to toe, and we kind of whooped, especially in that first half. We was whooping up on them. Honestly, if we didn't start with the mistakes, I say mistakes. I'm gonna split this in half because those refs. We rarely go there, right? We rarely go there.
But you have to, though. I mean, there were a couple like really like it left us shaking our head at Cahaba. We were like, really, man? Like,
we can go over them, but there was some calls that they threw on us. We were like, what? Like there was a couple of calls they missed. Like they almost let Buckhalter get killed. I know they called a face mask, but that was a personal foul. Number 40 should have been out of there. That should have been 2 flags. We should have had 30 yards on that play.
And a dead ball, because when the whistle blew when that helmet was ripped off, and it was a good 3 or 4 seconds, when he threw him down afterwards. So that, at the very least, it should have been an additional 15 yards unsportsmanlike conduct. You can't call targeting, but I've seen people saying, hey, he should have been ejected. A football player, maybe he didn't hear the whistle, but when that damn helmet was ripped off, you got to stop, man, because we were scared. Y'all remember how quiet that was in Cahaba when that happened? Yeah. Like, we were scared for his life, for Buckhalter's life.
His neck, his head got through into the ground. He didn't have a helmet on. Like, it was, come on, man. They missed the call. I don't even want to go over all the calls, but it was a couple calls they threw on us that I did not agree with. And there's a couple of them they didn't throw. Even some of the announcers, like when I was able to hear and look back, like one of the face masks on Zeno when we took a sack, it was a clear face mask. And they was like, that was more obvious than the one they just threw, It happened a couple times.
And then the one before that, though, it was the freaking back judge was the one that threw the flag all the way in the back. We saw the head ref, the line judge, they didn't throw the flag. It's like Arkansas, this isn't why UAB lost, by the way. We're not saying, but it's like they had to rip the entire helmet off for them to throw the flag. And that's insane, man. This is a player safety issue. Like when you've got people turning heads, and that one they didn't call when Zeno was face mask, he basically turned the head. Now Zeno's helmet stayed on, so I guess that's why they didn't throw the flag.
they didn't call it. Yeah.
My God, dude, like that is a player safety issue. Throw the damn flag.
please throw the flag. Like it was happening over and over. Like I said, we make some mistakes, but I can't really. We take accountability. Trust me. These other two games, we wouldn't say, "Oh, the refs." We're not that type of podcast. But if you go back and look at that game, you would agree with us and say, "All right, we're gonna put 50% of this on the refs." And But then we made some things that really, some mistakes that really gave them an opportunity, like that 3rd and 1. That it ended up being the 3rd and 1 when Zeno went for a slide and
he slid early. Yeah,
he should have just fell forward. But yeah, he slid a little. And I did go back and watch that and pause that he did start. He was 1 yard short, and then we get the false start. And that's how, we let them, and then we have to punt the ball because we don't convert on 3rd and 6. Like, it's stuff like that happen, and we had them on the ropes, and that gave them momentum. If it wasn't for those mistakes, if we take away a couple of those flags, if they call a couple of calls that should have been called, we win this game. I believe we do, but based on the way the offensive line was playing. I think that one guy I want to give the MVP to at least in the first half is John Darius Morgan, J.D. Morgan. Go back and watch the play of our left tackle. Watch how physical he was not. I can't stress this enough. He was not playing like this the first 2 games. I don't care what nobody say. Like, I was watching those games. This game, hey, shout out to Coach McCants. Whatever he said, that offensive line, they get my game ball. They were firing off of the ball. They were getting up to the next level. We were not getting up to the next level. And I don't know if Arkansas was a little arrogant because they were kind of vanilla. They put like 4 men or 5 men. They didn't do too much. I start seeing them kind of trying to mix some games in after a while. But watch on the touchdown play. Shout out to I think that was Terrell McDonald and Lee Beebe. We were messing up on our assignments, our blocking assignment. We were spot on. We had both of those guys in. They sent the blitz. They tried to run the game with it. We had it locked up. Nobody got touched to Jacob. He had time, clean pocket, 1-on-1 Amari Thomas, touchdown. All because we were sound. You go back to the last game, somebody would have missed the assignment. That probably would have been a sack, fumble, touchdown, ULM. That's how these things go. It's like we don't think about it as dramatic as that sounds. Like, oh, it wouldn't have did all of that. We would have scored. No, because John, we talked about last game one play when Jacobs missed the block. We had a guy wide open. I think Shanks probably would have scored.
Yeah, Shanks was wide open on a mesh route, and that was the play where Jacobs missed the block, and that was the strip sack, I believe. And
it was the strip sack.
Yeah.
Yep. That goes to show you. So one play when we got a guy wide open, strip sack because a guy just missed. Then we have this play as a touchdown against a P4 team because guys are just hat on the hat. Just hat on the hat. No, they sent 2 linebackers. They ran a twist with it. They did all of that. And our guys knew they had their eyes in the right spot. I'm looking at it, and I'm like a football junkie. I'm like, yes, because those are the things that we were not seeing. And those are the things that I wanted to see. How about our running backs and how they were running the ball? They were not running the ball that way. They ran with purpose. Like, they got downhill. I think running backs coaches, I don't know why names I'm getting.
Henley Brigham.
So Brigham is like I think his thing is like, don't get tackled. It's just simple. And they were running like, I ain't getting tackled. Like, Jacobs just lowering the boom, run over. He caught the ball one hand. Oh, I'm short of a first down. Let me run you over to get these 3 yards. BB ran a couple people over a couple times. No fumbles, hands on the ball. Like, that's how we got to play. For the most part, Jacob Zeno plays smart. He plays sound. I think we could have beat them. Like, it kind of sucked in that sense and then I'm going to transition to defense real quick. I think the guy on defense that I really love seeing. I didn't see Chris Brace.
Real quick before we do defense, I know we've spotlighted the wide receivers, offensive line, Zeno, and the running backs. How about them tight ends? How about the first touchdown, Terrell McDonald blocking downfield, man? He ain't getting past him. I feel
Shanks.
that was Shanks. Hey, Shanks got past him. And then, hey, Dallas freaking Payne in that fourth quarter touchdown, boy. That's a big boy right there. You ain't gonna bring him down. I'm so proud to see him get that touchdown. But I just wanted to say that.
No,
we'll
you
transition to defense.
totally let me slow down because I got on to them. I got on to them too because I said it was. Everybody said it's just the offensive line, but it was the tight ends that were missing blocks, missing assignments, running backs. They weren't. It was one play. Bryce Damus came across, and it was just like a 6-yard run, a 5-yard, but he totally sealed off the end, stonewalled them. Like, it was so many good blocks thrown by the tight ends. Like you said, Terrell McDonald with that key block. They even highlighted him. The commentators were like, wow, Terrell McDonald would have. I'm like, that stuff like that is like so cool. And then just Dallas Payne just being a grown man. You ain't lifting 225 enough. You ain't doing enough reps, little boy. So, but yeah, it was just a solid, really solid game. So what has me so excited? Our offense has been stuck in the mud, right? It's just been stuck in the mud, but they weren't in that game because they played sound. I watched Memphis play. I watched Memphis play Florida State. Memphis is not great at anything, but they're pretty solid at everything. The one thing they are great at is they don't make mistakes. They don't beat themselves. I'm talking about fumbles, flags, responsibilities, just good sound, hat on the hat, throw where you're supposed to, be where you at type of football. They're not a special individuals. I'm Rock Taylor, maybe, the receiver, and I was kind of jealous when I was watching that game. Like, if we could just do that, we could make a run. We could beat them, right?
If we could just play Florida State too.
Yeah, but Memphis was able to beat Florida State because they played that way. We were playing the opposite. If we played the way we had been playing, Florida State would have blew us out, right? Yeah. But we played sound offensively. Like, if we just kind of have better refs, plus have better decision, like we got to keep it, we got to sustain it. We kind of lost it in the mid quarters, kind of tried to bring it back in the quarter, but we just got to keep it the whole game. No mistakes. No mistakes. Don't say one. Don't say there was just one mistake. Don't get a holding. Don't get a false start. Don't get nothing. Just play good. Don't fumble the ball. Don't throw a stupid pass. Make them beat. If we do that, I'm going back to that Kobe Dempsey tweet. He said, we're going to make this keyword, he said, was championship run. I think that we can make an AAC. Can we? We got to beat Navy. I don't even want to get too hyped, but I see the ingredients. So maybe we can. Let's see.
All right, Jimmy, what just transitioning, because I know we've got to wrap this up, because I mean game recaps really should be 30 minutes, and I know we've already hit the 30-minute mark almost. Jimmy, what are your thoughts on the UAB defense just transitioning to the other side of the ball?
Yeah, well, the UAB Football X account had released some stats related to the pass defense, which I think they had said was top 4 nationally right now, which is really good. Now, admittedly, we've had some opponents that aren't ones that you would fear in the passing game, that being ULM and Alcorn State. But at the same time, what it does say is something that we have believed all offseason, which is that UAB has made vast improvements in the secondary in particular. They had a coaching hire. I'm going to forget his name off the top of my head, CJ Cox from Kent State, as well as some additions via FCS and retaining a guy like Colby Dempsey and having young guys who we haven't even seen play, like a Ricky Lee this season, Ray Thornton, who just was able to get into his first game. So that secondary, what I'm saying is that it's certainly improved, no question, and it's incomplete in that we haven't seen the whole picture yet. And so that secondary, how can I not mention Kelvin Hill Jr.? We've talked about him on most of our podcasts this season. Just been solid, just throwing out a guy in these games, who is a true freshman, and him performing at the level that he is. Maddox, Tyjon Jones, all these guys have been tremendous. It's hard, to not even leave somebody out. But defensively, the pass defense has statistically been really good. On the counter, looking at the run defense has still been an area of opportunity for UAB, almost allowing 200 yards per game, which essentially is equal to this past season. But that isn't to discredit that this UAB team has not improved in defense, because they certainly have improved on defense. Some of the areas I think might get lost in box score. You can look at red zone scoring opportunities, whatever. But one thing that I've noticed is that several times this season, the UAB defense has been put in situations in which they could have easily broke. So you think about, wasn't it the sack fumble against ULM where that was a touchdown, but there was a moment in the it was either the
block punt, and they held for a field goal. Yeah.
There you go. So it's one of those outcomes in which they held into a field goal. In the Alcorn State game, UAB running backs turned it over, at least twice, once within their own territory, and they held them to field goal in that opportunity. And then you think about this game as well, the onside kick, failed opportunity. They held them to a field goal, right? So there's just been several of those opportunities in which UAB defense could have broke, but they didn't break. So I think that was really good. And, just to kind of close in UAB defense, just to look at it fairly from both sides, is that one concern that I do have is when you look at some of the opponents that are upcoming on the UAB schedule and their emphasis on the run game, like that's something that luckily we've got the bye week to continue preparation for that. But what is it, 2 out of the next 3 games, you're going to see both Navy and Army. And again, that pass defense, those numbers, pass defense are going to continue to be ridiculous because those teams are hopefully not going to pass, even though Navy did against us. John was there. But hopefully, exactly. Hopefully the emphasis for this week is to get healthy, to continue focusing on that run defense and have some improvement there. And I think that UAB's got an opportunity to continue their trend upward as it relates to defense as a whole.
Yeah, I think that was good. I think you had, I think Sarai Bryant had a really good game back at safety. I didn't really see Chris Bracey. I know he was on the participation chart, but I didn't see him at all. Somebody probably can see, maybe he was dealing with an injury. Still haven't seen Ricky Lee out there. We still have a couple of the back end guys that haven't really played for real. Ray Thornton just got out there, played some. It was good to see him back out there. But yeah, it was really good. It was really good seeing Bryant. Yeah, he's leading the team with tackles, and I liked his spirit. Like, I think his results spoke for themselves, but his spirit, like he was talking noise, and it looked like he expected to make those plays. Like he played like somebody that expected to win, right? Like his whole spirit was just uplifting me, right? And he wasn't scared. He wasn't backing down. He was an enforcer out there. I think defensively, you look at Arkansas versus Oklahoma State, man, they ran crazy on them, and they have probably one of the fastest quarterbacks out there. you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, hey, man, what do you expect? But I do think they're big boys up front. Like they have a really good offense. They have a big offensive line. They come off the ball, and then I'm proud of our guys for just competing against them boys. Like I said, they ran crazy on Oklahoma State, like crazy. And our guys were competing. Like we won some battles, but I would say overall, I think they got the best of us up front, and they were kind of able to kind of wear down on us going into the later on, the later on in the game. But shout out to the depth we do have now. I do think we do need more depth at linebacker. I can see we wasn't doing too much rotating there. I even saw Smear there a couple times. I know he was on the end and he kind of moving linebacker. So we're still trying to find that dependable depth at linebacker. It was a lot of brothers, a lot of Russell, a lot of Michael Moore. That's it. You know what I'm saying? And I think we needed more guys. If you look at the defensive line, we were rotating guys like, maybe 11 guys or so on the defensive line. So, and those guys were battling. And I just think we kind of, at the end of the day, they leaned on us and we started losing that battle. But shout out to them for competing. I feel like compared to last year, we kind of just wilted. If we faced a big, strong downhill team like that last year, it was kind of like, can't hold on. It's too big, too strong. But nah, not this time. Like, yeah, they were gashing us with some runs up front, but we stopped. We had some timely stops. And we were competing, and we won some battles up there. I just want y'all to know. So it gives me hope, man. Hopefully we can find a linebacker or two. Hopefully they'll reveal themselves over the bye week. You kind of help with their rotation. Hopefully Ricky Lee can be back out there, be a big boom. Hopefully Yusuf Terry, hopefully he can be out there. My neighbor game, it'll be a big boom. And we can just keep that spirit on the offensive line. We can keep on competing on the defensive line. We can keep guys like Sarai Bryant getting more playing time. Jackie Beck was out there a lot this game. Like, I'm looking at it, I'm intrigued. I want to see us get more pressure on the edge. I want to see those guys continue to get better on the edge. But other than that, defensively, I can't be mad. I'm actually encouraged by our competition. I think it's a good time for this bye week and getting Navy at home. I think it'll serve us well. And I'm happy about Kobe engaging with the fans. I felt like they listened to us. I felt like they heard us in some kind of sense, right? For him to quote Paul and say, hey, we did work. We did get better. We gonna need y'all. So y'all heard Kobe. Y'all go show him some love. They gonna need us for the next game. They improve. Let's give them a shot to win this AAC. Let's get behind them. We flushed the ULM. They proved it on the field that they improved, that they listened. Let's choose to trust them, and let's choose to believe that they're going to build off of this performance, heal up, get better, and we're going to go make a run at this thing.
Hey, one last comment, John. I think we'd be remiss if we didn't make a comment about the special teams performance through 3 games. Special teams were a big area of opportunity this past season. And if you look at a ranking like the SP plus minus special teams in the top 25 ranking through 3 games, is it Jonah Delange,
I think.
Delange. Okay. Jonah Delange. He is perfect on field goals this year, perfect on PATs. Our guy 38 specials, kicking the ball, getting touchbacks. Coverage has been good. Trent talked about how there's been an inspiration to play on special teams, but special teams is playing winning football, and that's big. Defensively, we talked about them. Defense still has a lot of opportunity to grow, but it's vastly improved from this past season. And so offense, if they can perform as they did against an Arkansas team and build upon that, to Darian's point, then there could be a lot of winning football and a lot of positive results for this team. A lot of those goals and aspirations are still ahead for UAB football. And then one last comment, wanted to give a shout out. We talked about Amari Thomas, but I can't help myself but looking at the stats. Amari Thomas through 2 career games against Power 4 opponents. He has 14 catches, 116 yards, 2 scores. Dude's a baller.
He sure is. And I know we need to wrap, but real quick on special teams, I saw a lot of people complaining about the onside kick try. I don't hate that at all. That's one of those things, like, if it goes well and UAB recovers, they're geniuses, and it's just, hey, the ball didn't bounce our way. I think we had a guy offside too, but hey, defense bend but not break. Only lit up a field goal in that situation, which was good. Shout out to Michael Moore again, getting that interception. Michael, I want to see you return that all the way, man. Don't hold up.
He got 40 yards.
He got 40 yards there. I saw that. He saw that quarterback coming in, Green from Arkansas. He was like, oh man, juke that boy. Get a step. Yeah. Shout out again to AJ. Shout out AJ Brown, Joker Gill, Desmond Little. Good. Hey, all got a sack. Adrian Maddox, we talked about. I hope he's okay. Rest up the bye week. But I think
he totally balled. He balled out when he was out there. Shout out to Maddox. I love our safeties as well. Yeah. What a switch around. Get healthy, Bracy.
Yes. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, we will be back next time after the bye week on the free feed to get ready for Navy, get some revenge on Navy. But stay tuned to the Patreon. We're going to have more content coming. But as always, guys, just blaze.